everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecticut at Your Service, where we feature and highlight individuals that are making a difference in our community through their own personal efforts, the work that they do, or the nonprofits that they serve and are associated with. I can't even tell you what a celebration it is to have my guest here today. Her name is Selina Daniels, and she serves as the Covenant to Care for Children program coordinator. And that's a mouthful to say, but wait till you hear all the things that she does. So Selina, I want to thank you for being on the show, and you know that I am just such a fan of everything that you do. You and I met at Casey because I was the volunteer coordinator there, and you've hit the ground running where you're creative, you're thoughtful, you're very mindful of the way that you serve the community and our young people. Tell me a little bit about you. And first of all, we got to share that we grandmas.
Yes, we
are.
Gigi's,
you know,
yes,
we
we
Gigi's,
are.
so we got to, you know, so tell me a little bit about you, your family, and how did you get into this work?
Okay. So first, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to be here. So how did I get into this work? So you know that I am a foster parent. And I have to say that I got into this work really being laid off from my corporate job. So I got laid off. Someone had talked to me about foster care in the past, and I was undecided. It seemed like a really, really big decision to make, right? So a really big decision to make. And I just couldn't decide whether or not it was something that I could handle, that I could really do and do well. So I was laid off from my job. I was debating on whether or not I wanted to transfer to Florida. They had offered me a relocation package. And then I started looking into foster care a little bit more. And it just kind of went from there. I remembered that my aunt was a foster parent and who adopted my cousin. And I started to think about that and just her memory, because she passed away, and how she just loved her son so much and was so blessed with being able to adopt him. And I started working. I was a foster parent first, and then
An involved foster parent, because I remember being like, Selina,
Yeah.
let's go, let's do this,
Yeah.
because you would, and you
Yeah.
would be engaged.
And I have to say too, I had gotten into another field. I was working and then became a foster parent. So because I got laid off, and that's how I started entertaining. And I'm like, well, I have the time now to take the classes and to really, really think about the work and think about whether or not I could really get involved in being a foster parent.
And that's just something, because you have your own children and your own grandchildren. I mean, and I know that there's other people out there that maybe there's an opportunity for them to be like a foster or adoptive parent. Is the process hard?
To me, I didn't feel like it was hard. I felt like it was something that's not meant for everyone. Everyone can do something, but it's challenging to take youth into your home and to really be able sometimes to look beyond the behavior. And you need a lot of support in that. And that's really kind of how I fell into being able to do the work, because I was really challenged with, this requires a lot of support. This requires a lot of resources. And being connected with other foster parents, I really started to think about the resources and the supports that foster parents need. So when you ask me, is it hard? Sometimes it is, but it's no harder than having your own children. It's different, because they're not biologically yours, but it's different, but it's no different.
I know it's no different.
Right.
I know it's no, because I've seen you at
Right.
graduations and events and advocating and all these different things that, you know, it helps. And there's so many children that need a place.
Yeah.
I want to tell you that I'm so humbled to just know you and just be in your presence and all the things that you do and all the things that I've learned. So we talked a little bit about that you're with Covenant to Care. Tell me, so that has brought you here, right? Because not only have you done supports, but you also do like for social workers, right? So tell me a little bit about that and tell me what Covenant to Care is.
Right, so going from the corporate world to becoming a foster parent to then thinking about the services and being a foster parent and the supports, and then falling into the world of social service, which wasn't a field that I was in. So I started working for Covenant to Care for Children over, I want to say, 8 years ago. And it's a support service. I manage the Adopt a Social Worker program. I'm the program coordinator where I match social workers with faith-based organizations as well as businesses to be able to help provide for really basic needs on a social worker's caseload. You have children that need really, really, really basic things. And when they know that the community cares, it's a glimmer of hope. Especially when you see so much hopelessness. And then not only do I work in it, but I see it every day when you have children that come to your home.
And you make that connection, so the organization feels really special about who they're helping. The social worker gets supports of, because everybody's on a budget and there's things that we need to do that we don't have the resources to do. So individuals like you that are natural connectors are like gold. So I'm just, tell me a little bit about, so if somebody wanted to find out more about Covenant to Care, how could they do that?
So we are a social worker-based program, so we don't necessarily connect with the community. Our clients are the child welfare agencies and therapeutic agencies and child guidance and all of the other organizations that work with youth and families. So they can find out more. The social workers can find out more. The agencies can find out more about Covenant to Care for Children.
Businesses can, too.
Right, by going to our website, covenanttocareforchildren.org. They can visit us at the website and learn all about our Adopt a Social Worker program, our Critical Goods program,
What's critical goods? What's that?
So critical goods is our response to things that are needed like beds, and other really critical good items that a family might need that might be involved with the Department of Children and Families before they can be reunified, or even sometimes if they're just connected with DCF for whatever reason. There might not be out of home. The children might not be out of home, but they might need to have certain things before things are closed out. Right.
And closed out meaning that they're with that family now?
Right.
That they're, okay.
Right.
All right.
Right.
And so you're involved in so many things. So is there any one of the many things that you've done over the years that have particularly meant something to you and that helps to springboard what you do in your ongoing work?
I'm going to tell you that I do a lot of things, but I'm going to tell you what means the most to me is being a foster parent. and while it's not a job, because to me these kids that come to the home, but they're family. They're family. My kids come and they are part of the family. I have a lot of supports. My family is very involved, and that's why earlier when you asked about whether or not it's hard if you don't have the supports that you need. And this is something where you need to have the supports. I have to say that that's the most rewarding thing. Being a foster parent has led me into all of the other things that I do, working for Covenant to Care for Children, being a therapeutic support person where I do mentoring or supervised visits or whatever it might be that's needed. So there's lots of things that I do that are all around support services for family and youth.
And like I said, I know you to be a natural connector, so I know you know everybody, you're connected to everybody, can figure out a resource to help. So I think that that's just so important in the work that we do, because we're we do different things, but we ultimately serve the same community.
Yeah.
And all the guests that come on our show, Selina, are doing things to change the lives of children and families in our community through their work, through their nonprofits. You know, we had a guest here that just hiring teachers and hiring teachers that look like the kids that are in our school systems that speak multiple languages. We've had, you know, individuals that, you know, have started organizations because their child died of fentanyl overdose. So they've created kind of what's important to them into a mission of their work. So I would love to know, what are some other things that you have going on, coming up, organizations that you're connected with, any new opportunities that you're associated with?
So one thing that I can talk about is before the pandemic, I started an organization called Villages Are Stronger Together, VAST. And it's my own organization. We have not launched as far as a nonprofit organization, but it's all about resources and supports. I have a advisory committee, and we really sit and we really talk about, prior to the pandemic, we've kind of tabled things right now, but I'm really proud of the work that we started and the work that we will continue to do when we're able to pick things back up again. And it really is about resources and support groups and supporting our families that are foster families, that are adoptive families, through support groups, through being able to connect them through community resources. So that's something that I'm very proud of, something that I started with a lot of help from programs in the community like PLTI, which was a very important program to me that helped me to be able to start that organization. That now community organization that I hope to launch into a nonprofit in the very near future. That's something that I'm very proud of. Working with Annie C. Courtney Foundation, which is out of Waterbury, where I serve as the chairperson for that organization. The founder of that organization, her name is Deb Kelleher. She started that organization, and it's a wonderful organization that also supports youth that are in care through support services, through support groups. They as well. Right now we're looking at transitional living for kids. We just received a grant for $75,000 where we're going to be buying our first multifamily home for children that are aging out of foster care.
Wow. And that's independent? Through which organization?
Annie C. Courtney Foundation.
Okay.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
So if people wanted to just find you, Selina, and just say, you know, I heard her speak and I just would love for her to be able to talk to our families, talk to our groups, would they find you through the Covenant to Care?
They can. You can find me through Covenant to Care for Children. You can find me through vastinfoct@gmail.com. You can find me there. But you can definitely find me through Covenant to Care for Children.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
So we'll make sure, and we have it up on our station here, so make sure that you connect. I know that you're and I've said this before throughout the show today, that you're a natural connector. And I remember that we did a couple of events together with DCF that were like big community days. Do you still do those events, or since COVID it's kind of like taken back? Because I see Mr. Richard all the time. So he's with every celebrity taking a picture. So, you know.
So right now we haven't done anything in partnership with the Department of Children and Families, because I know that you're talking about like our Making Connections Day.
I love that. That was beautiful.
A beautiful, beautiful event that I hope at some point they decide to do it again, and I would love to partner with them and do that again. I do also go to Mount Airy Baptist Church, where I am the youth coordinator for the youth ministry. And right now we are working on our annual youth retreat event, which typically happens in June. We typically have the youth, this is the first time that we're having it in 2 years. And so it typically would happen in June, and then at this time of the year, we would just do our backpack giveaway. This year, we decided that families really need the resources and the support. So we're doing a larger event where we're doing a 3-day event of activities for on Friday for just our Mount Airy youth, but then a large event on Saturday for the community.
And this happens every year that you do some
Yes,
type of,
yes,
of youth
yes.
kind of retreat type
Yes,
weekend. So
yes.
people
A weekend,
can go
I should
on,
say.
and this one is the first time that it's like a whole weekend.
So we have done them on the weekends, all weekend before,
Okay.
where it's
Okay.
really a retreat where we go away sometimes, where we go to different places. It's different. This year is a little different because we're inviting the community. Normally, it's just our Mount Airy youth and families. This year, we're inviting the community and having more of like a community day. So if people were interested, they could visit the Mount Airy website where they could learn more about that.
And we'll display that in just a little bit, the
Okay.
Mont Airy. So what other things does Mont Airy, because I think I want to say something that, are they like a vaccine site or a testing site or something health related there?
Mount Airy does a number of different things, and right now they have a cooling and warming center.
That's what I saw.
Yes, which is absolutely wonderful. I can't speak to it too much. I really can't. I can speak to the youth ministry because I oversee the youth ministry, but I can't really speak to some of the other ministries. They're a wonderful, wonderful church.
Very engaged organization.
Our senior pastor is Pastor Anthony L. Bennett, and he's just wonderful. But we do have the cooling and warming center that we're very, very proud of and happy
and that
about.
I did see like on
Yes.
Facebook and things. And,
Yes.
You know, they're a very, they're champions for second chance programs and individuals.
Absolutely.
Because I have seen the pastor speak many times and such a champion. And that's a very engaged organization. So I could see how they would do, a youth kind of event for like the whole weekend. And they can find out, our viewers can find out information on the Mont Airy website to get information and some of the other things that they're doing, including the information about their warming and cooling,
Warming
centers.
and cooling
'Cause
center.
there's been, I think it's supposed to get really hot later this week again too.
Yeah,
So
and
one
I'm
more-
sure. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No.
I'm sure that the person that oversees that that ministry, she would love to talk more about it. I wish that I could share more, but it's absolutely wonderful. It really is.
So this year's theme is called "Leave It There." Can you tell me a little bit, especially when not only youth but families have a lot of mental health? Things have been really, really different in the last 2 years. Like the way that we were used to living, doing, partaking with our families has changed. So tell me a little bit about the theme about "Leave It There."
So we really wanted it. So it's youth ministry, right? So we really wanted it to catch the eye of our youth, right? And so lit catches the eye of our youth because that's what the kids say, right?
And I'm like, what does that mean?
Right. So leave it there. It means exactly that. All of your anxieties, all of your fears, all of your concerns, to be able to really give it to God and to really be able to have faith and to really think about the things that we do and how we talk to one another and just and being kind. So how are we going to leave it there when we're angry with someone and when we're frustrated, when it would be easy to say something mean or negative? But what about just being able to pray on it and give it to God and let's leave it all there, right? We've just come from 2 years of watching so many things go on. And our children right now they're very challenged, right? Families are very challenged. Children are very challenged with everything with school, work, everything, and still wondering what's next, right? We're still going through being concerned about this virus, right?
And what's still morphing and coming, you know?
Right.
My husband are like, yeah, we just got this vaccine. I'm like, guess what? There's like another 2 more you got to do.
Right,
I'm
right.
like, when does it stop? Because it keeps kind of like morphing.
Right.
So over the 3 days, so you said that it's a 3-day event. So kind of tell me a little bit about what will happen each day, and then can anybody in the community like come? Do they just show up?
This year it's totally open to the community. Friday we're making cans. They're called God Can, We Can, and they're really just cans that are prayer cans where we're going to decorate them with scriptures, and they're going to be a prayer can where they can put their prayers or put their thoughts or any of their concerns in the can, their own personal can, almost like the prayer boxes that you see in stores. So we're going to have that activity, and we're going to talk about what it really means to leave it there. And in addition to that, we'll have a gaming truck that Friday night. We'll have wonderful young ladies. Her name is Kazzy, and she has an ice cream truck that her parents started for her. What? So she's 7 years old. She's adorable.
7?
She's 7, and it's a slushy truck, slushy and
How
lemonade
awesome
truck.
Is that?
So they'll be there. She's so cute, and I hope that I'm saying her name correctly. It's Chazzy's. And so she'll be there on Friday along with our gaming truck for our youth, and then our activity that we'll have, that will be Friday. And then Saturday will be open to our community, where our community can come out. We're going to have vendors. We're going to have workshops that really talk about mental health, and we're going to talk about PPTs. We have some wonderful facilitators that will be doing some workshops for us. We have some wonderful vendors that will be sharing their resources and their services as well. We have activities for the youth. We have you that will be there with us as well. Yes, it'll be great. And then on Sunday, we will have youth church, where everyone is welcome. Our youth are welcome to come and join us for youth church. And after youth church, we will have Sunday Fun Day. So we'll be having ice cream Sundays.
Sunday Fun Day.
Yes.
And we'll have ice cream again. So ice cream 2 days.
Yes.
Ice cream is always good.
Ice cream 2 days.
Ice cream 2 days. We're here with Selina Daniels, who's with Covenant to Care, and just all the things that she's done, from being a foster parent to being a natural connector in our community, to being associated with Mount Airy Baptist Church right here in Bridgeport, who's so engaged in our community. You've mentioned like 3 or 4 other things. And I want to spend a little bit of time because you've learned so much, not only with, having your own children and being grandma, but working with youth that are, we call them opportunity youth, because with the right individual, and it could be mentoring. You don't have to foster anybody. You could mentor, you could tutor, you could be a friend, you can invite, and
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's family. So it doesn't have to be a stranger child. Sometimes within families, there are issues too where they need to be supported too. I would love to spend just a few minutes of just like some really good nuggets of lessons that you've learned that you can share about. You talked about everything that you say is about being kind, being grateful. Just what are some of the things that you've learned that could be of help to some parents that either are thinking about fostering, have problems with their own, maybe like children with themselves or with their family? What might be some like really good lessons that you've learned?
You know what's coming to my mind? What's coming to my mind is the theme that we have this year, Leave It There. I think that is really something that I've learned, and that we have to share more with parents, that sometimes you just have to leave some things there, right? Kids are going to be kids. Kids are going to be challenging. We have to meet them where they are. We have to think about that they didn't ask to be there. We have to think about that their parents didn't wake up in the morning and say, I'd like for my children to be in foster care. We have to speak life into them. They didn't. I never talk about someone's biological parents. No matter what happened, you don't know the reason. You don't know the reason. So there's so much. I could talk about this forever.
One of the things that came to mind, like with the Casey days when we were working together at Casey, and I remember, and it always stuck with me, and I practice it when sometimes my children and I are not getting along, or we're having a difference of opinion, especially with my mini-me, you know. And one of the things that we try to even talk to like our grandkids about is saying, you know, what, I'm upset at what you did. I'm not upset at you. I love you. No matter what, I love you. And that's not going to change. And how do we work through that? If we start crying, Selena, let me tell you. But it's just when you said speak life into them, it just reminded me of that, you know. And just because of like past experience, like you've learned lessons, you know. And I wish that I knew then what I know now. You know, that, you know, if my daughters were ever in some place where they didn't feel comfortable or didn't feel safe, that it was okay to call. It wasn't, they didn't feel okay to call. And now we breathe that into our granddaughter, be like, listen, you can call and do like a password and pineapple or whatever, we coming.
Right.
We're coming. Everybody's coming to kind of do that. So
coming.
it makes a big difference for, you know, just because something happens doesn't mean that we have to physically address it right then and there.
Right.
To, you know, lesson learned, you know, my grandchildren, my children feel safe. We have to talk about it because things have to be addressed. But they don't have to be addressed that second. And sometimes a hug means
Everything.
so much.
Everything.
So much. Or just to sit and not say anything. Okay, we're not. We know we got to talk about it, but we don't have to talk about it right this second.
Everything.
And it makes such a difference. And you're somebody that is patient and kind and friendly. And just like just a genuine, helpful person. I mean, you and I get on the phone, we're like, listen, I'm just going to call her for like a second because we want to talk about this. And it's like an
hour later.
And we have that relationship where it's not, you know, it's some people are in your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And we have about 2 minutes left. So what might be some kind of like some nuggets, you know, do you want us to make sure we're checking out Covenant to Care? Or?
Yes, please. I want to make sure that you visit our website, covenanttocare.org. Please visit our website. Please look at the Mount Airy Baptist website if you want to attend our event that's coming up. And you can always reach out to me for other events that I might be doing in the community.
Yeah, and collaborate. You're always willing to collaborate and things
love
like that.
partnerships, love collaboration. I absolutely
Selena,
love it.
It has been absolutely amazing. When we started this interview, we're like, what are we going to talk about? We've already exceeded our time because
I can't even believe it because I still want to talk. I still have more to say.
There's more to do, and when you have other things coming up, let's make sure that we, you know, that we connect. We want people to follow you. We want people to go on to Covenant to Care, to Mount Airy, and to do all the different things that you do. So we want to thank you for tuning in another week here at Connecticut at your service. We want to make sure that you're following us on Soundview Media TV, that you're able to see the show. Selena, this is going to keep playing on our YouTube channel, so make sure that you're following up on that. And remember to be kind. Remember to spotlight individuals that are making a difference in our community. And it's not that hard to make a difference. And remember, leave it there and join us this weekend and follow us every year.